What's good, Ravens fans? It's your boy JG. Welcome back to the Raven Space. Thank you guys so much for joining. Today, we are going to talk about Tyler Huntley, his play versus Lamar's play, using some statistics, ladies and gentlemen. I'll show you where I got this idea from. Let's take a look right now. So, you guys can see this post was posted here. It says, I used to think Tyler Huntley could be a starter on multiple teams, but these past couple of weeks have told me otherwise, and the analytics say the same. Plus, Lamar's a top 5 QB when healthy. So let's take a look at this chart here. So there's a charted versus production-based measures of QB play. They do this by taking the expected points added per play, passes, rushes, and penalties, and they put it on offensive grade from PFF. And so for you guys, expected points added is they take each play, and each play is kind of broken down into how many points can each play be worth, right? And so they take that number, for example, and let's say a pass that's wide open, right, will have a high EPA, right, because it's a wide open pass. If the pass is contested, there's a lower EPA. If, for example, you're in the red zone, the plays there have a higher EPA than if you're on your own 20-yard line, right? All this takes into account, and what they do is they take all these plays, make a sum of it across the season, and then they put the players down and see what their performance does. And so what they did here with the Ravens is they took Lamar Jackson here. And I believe the circle, to me, will represent sample size, right? Which is why, for example, you can see these players with smaller circles have smaller starts, right? Let's just take Tyler Huntley, for example, has a very small circle. Lamar Jackson has a bigger circle, But then Patrick Mahomes has a really big circle because he's played every game. So, what does this tell us, right? First, it tells us that Lamar Jackson has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. So you can see his average PFF grade is between an 80 and a 90. So for you guys who don't know, a PFF grade here is a great player, not a good player. Listen, guys, if you have a PFF grade with over 80, you're a great player. You're having a great season, right? If you have a PFF score over 90, that's an MVP season, right? A Defensive Player of the Year season, whatever award you're in contention for, right? That's one of the greatest. And we can see this from these numbers here, right? Arguably the 4 people who are currently in the race for MVP are at the top, right? Mahomes, Hurts, Allen, and Burrow. Point being, though, is Lamar Jackson's up here. And again, some other players who are really good this season, Tua, Dak, again, Geno's been really good. Andy's surprising, but he's up here as well. Now, the thing that we need to take into account as Ravens fans, and why a lot of Ravens fans are so upset, is the EPA, right? So basically, how many plays are easy? How many plays do you have that you would expect to get a lot of points on? How many plays do you have in the red zone? How many plays are people open and passes are easy, right? What percentage, they use percentages. You guys have watched the NFL. You guys have watched all this stuff when they have Amazon Web Services doing, this was a 90% chance of completion. This is a 1% chance of completion. All that great stuff. So what they're basically saying is that the expected points for Lamar Jackson on his plays are lower than all of these players, right? And here's something that you want to take into account here, guys. Look at the players who are below these lines, right? Not a lot of these are playoff teams, right? This is the line that you want to take in, right? This is the break-even line here. The better you get, the better you're rated, the higher you are here, right? That makes sense, right? Easier the play is, you can make it. This is Lamar Jackson, right? This is Tyler Huntley. Guys, what this is saying is that Tyler Huntley has a much lower PFF grade, right, than Lamar Jackson. His average PFF grade is in the 50s to 60s, guys. That's a bench warmer, ladies and gentlemen. And I like Tyler. I like him. That's a bench warmer, right? That's not even an average player in PFF's rating. That's a bench warmer. An average player is 60 to 70. This is a bench warmer grade here, and which is, depressing. But the results that we have gotten is in line with that. Now, again, you can also even see here, this also tells you that Lamar Jackson, has more red zone attempts and his opportunities to score are easier. And the main reason that is because Tyler Huntley, every time they play, they know he can do certain things, right? He's not as good as a passer as Lamar, so they definitely crowd the box and they make you go into tight man coverage. There's no zones happening, right? You make the throw is what they're going to tell you. And so that is why his EPA is also lower. But this is just a good thing to see that, Lamar Jackson is even this season, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Top 5 based on this here. Andy Dalton, I can't really count just because he didn't play that many games. And you can see that Jalen Hurts, Allen, Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Tua, Prescott, Lawrence, Garoppolo, Goff, all these players have had an easier time, Daniel Jones, throwing the football and have, easier plays or more points expected than our boy Lamar Jackson. My bad, guys. I thought you could see my mouse. I did not know you couldn't see my mouse. All right. So let's go to the comments here and see what they gotta say. Oh, you can see my mouse now. Interesting. Okay. So Jets fan Lamar Stan says, Lamar being the top half of EPA in grade with this offensive unit and OC is a miracle into itself. I don't think a lot of people really understand his value in carrying the units he has to success. Right? And it says, the OC sucks, but the offensive cast around him is not as bad as you're making it out. So this is, hey, let's see. Top 5 O-line. Okay. Right? O-line has been playing better now than they did in the beginning of the season. They were not always a top 5 O-line, so let's not forget that, okay? Good running backs who have been very injured and have not been performing great when he was there. And a top 3 tight end. Yes. Okay, I'll give Mark Andrews that. Even though, ladies and gentlemen, and I've said this in other videos, Mark Andrews has not been performing as a top 3 tight end without Lamar Jackson. And that's what the truth of the matter is, right? There are receivers in this league who perform great with regardless of who the quarterback is. DeAndre Hopkins is one of them. Doesn't matter who is throwing him the ball, he gets his. Mark Andrews is not the same. I told you guys this. I told you guys, y'all said a tight end is just as good as a receiver. And I told you, get out of here. That's not true at all. That's not true. And we can see that. It says, there are some teams with much better wideouts, but lacking in 2 of the 3 position groups we succeed in. Now, Rome is a different story. So here's the thing about this, though, and I want to talk to you guys about this too. That's not a good answer, because what vaudeville is failing to take into account is that though we are better at tight end than most teams and better at running back than most teams, the value of those positions are lesser, right? That's why they get paid less, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they get paid less, right? A tight end, a good tight end, is not worth a good receiver. A good running back is not worth a good receiver, right? And so if you're a team that has 2 good receivers, right? If you're a team like the Bengals who have 3 good receivers, in Higgins, Boyd, and then again, Jamar Chase, the big dog, and all 3 of them on an open market would probably fetch equal or more than a top tight end, because throwing the ball gets wins in this league now, guys. And so I don't think he takes that into account. He takes all positions as the same, and that's just not the truth. Again, just because a top 5 O-line is important and is great. But even the teams like the Bengals have proven that with bad O-lines, you can still succeed here. Okay, so they're going on. Let's try to find some fresh comments. They're all responding to that one comment that I talked about earlier. I just want one more, and I'm gonna let you guys go. Okay. He says, Cyberton says, I feel like every time I watch a Ravens win with Lamar, I'm like, well, dang, the only reason they won that game was Lamar. So I have no clue where these narratives come from. I'll tell you where these narratives come from, okay? Guys, it's the same place narratives all come from. They're coming from the teams, okay? They're only trying to suppress the value. They're only trying to suppress the value of players, right? That is what it is, right? They're trying to suppress Lamar's value, right? And everyone, wants Lamar, but they all know that if you throw these conflicting things about Lamar in there, people will be nervous about Lamar. Other teams want the Ravens to be nervous about Lamar because they want Lamar, right? The Ravens want Lamar to be nervous about the Ravens wanting Lamar so they get an easier deal, right? The only person who wants people to be like, Lamar is the great guy, is Lamar. And unfortunately, he doesn't have an agent talking to the NFL.com and ESPN saying, oh, this is what's happening, So that is where it comes from. But he is right. Lamar is the only reason we win games. He's literally carrying this team on his back. So, guys, so that was pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think about this. Again, the most important takeaway, and I'm really mad you guys couldn't see my mouse because I'm on the screen again. The most important takeaway is that Lamar, even though he has a lower EPA per play than a lot of these great quarterbacks, he's in their class really, and is definitely a top 5 quarterback by this chart. So thank you guys so much, and go Ravens.